Hope becomes faith. Faith becomes conviction. After a while, your personal law changes and you vibrate at a different level where sometimes you're not even asking for anything, but spontaneous goodness happens in your life because that's the vibration you're carrying. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? Because you now have a different law. You have a different way you see yourself. And of course, we're dealing with the fact that people in our country see ourselves as other. You know what I mean? We're dealing with the antibodies we've developed against racism and bigotry and other, whatever the other is. And so that can't be our personal law. Our personal law has to be, we're the emanation of the Most High, that we have history way before slavery. There's something about us that is eternal. That has to be our law. And we get to shine that law through this physical incarnation. This is a lampshade that reveals the light of infinite good, So we love our incarnation, but pre-incarnation, we're light, we're brilliance, we're luminosity, and we have everything. We have to come to believe that, feel that, articulate that, walk with that, and then we notice our life experience changes because we're experiencing a higher degree of thinking. You see?
Yeah. I think, and also you're saying when we're born, like coming from that perspective of, I don't know, we already deserve good and are here to put good into the world. Hey, it's so good to see so many friends. I see Alice Smith is on here and she's doing her concert series. I'm going to be watching that tonight. I think you're doing it, Alice, for the next 4 days. Beautiful singer. Reverend Michael, I wanted to ask you, what was your earliest glimpse at what has become agape today? You had the life before, and maybe, if you could just tell us a little bit about your path, and then what was that moment that keyed into what you've built and now is spread so far?
Well, I can remember experiences that I had as a kid that allowed me to see differently, but I filed them away. I fought hard to be normal. I remember when I was 11, something opened up for me, and I could see that I was in DC. We're from DC, and I was there for the summer, and it was my birthday, and something happened to me. And I could see that I was not my mother's child or my grandmother's grandchild or my uncle's nephew, that I was something else. I was a bigger presence. But as I got closer to them, I closed it down because I didn't know what this was, and I didn't want to seem weird. So I shrunk myself to be my mom's kid. And I had experiences like that until I was attending USC. Right before that, what happened was I was the propaganda commissioner for the Black Workers Congress. I was a part of it when I was in Atlanta. I moved to LA, so I was working with the Black Workers Congress, Black Panther Party, and I was in a meeting.
Black Panther Party, Oakland.
Yeah, and so I was in a meeting. We were in a meeting, a strategy meeting, and I heard this voice behind me say, "If you were to take over the world tomorrow, would the world be any different?" So I looked to see who was there, but there was nobody there. So we continued with the meeting, and I heard the voice again, but it was coming from within me. If you were to take over the world tomorrow, would the world be any different? So I looked around the room, and I could see all these well-meaning people, but I could see the narcissism, I could see the control, I could see the power trips, I could see it all. And I said, wow, if we were to take over the world wouldn't be any different. We might have a better ideology, but as individuals, we'd still be the same people. So I left the meeting and I never went back. The next week, somebody in that meeting shot somebody. Somebody got into an argument, and a guy pulled out a gun and shot this person. And they're supposed to be revolutionaries, we're going to change the world. And so I wasn't there to be a part of that. So anyway, I enrolled at USC. I was on a psychobiology major. I was on my path to go to med school. And I started having a series of inner experiences that I labeled pathological. I thought I was crazy. I was seeing visions. I was hearing voices. I was leaving my body and traveling. I hadn't studied any of that stuff at the time, so I didn't know what it was. So I stopped smoking weed. I said, this has got to be the weed causing all of this.
Process of elimination.
Yeah. Okay. Weed gone, but it continued. It got bigger. Anyway, to make a long story short, I was killed in a lucid dream. I was stabbed in my heart. The pain was excruciating. When I woke up, I could see that we were surrounded by a presence of love and beauty and intelligence that was in everything. The love that I felt was beyond anything I'd ever experienced. The beauty was surrounding me, and my life changed. I began to go on a research and development to discover what had happened to me. And in doing that, I bumped into meditation. I bumped into the great teachings out of India, out of Africa, the great mystics. And at the time, though, I didn't think I was going to be a public person, because I was more solitude. I was more introspective. I was shy. I was not trying to start anything. Yeah, I was very meditative. And so I never thought that I was going to start anything. But I used to do one-on-one healings with people and small groups. I had a little newspaper, things like that. I had a different name. I had a spiritual name. And anyway, long story short.
Should we ask what the name was? No, I won't.
Well, the name was Paramatman.
Okay.
Atman. I was reading the Upanishads, and that name jumped out at me. It lit up in gold, and I took it on. Then later on, it just went back to Michael. That's another story. But I was a spiritual therapist. I was doing a lot of work for people, and I got this pull to start something. I resisted it. I did not want to be a public person. I didn't want to lose my weekends. I did, and anyway, I had so much resistance that in hindsight, my left shoulder would get stuck, and I couldn't turn my neck to the left. I used to go to the chiropractor and get it fixed all the time. Anyway, I'm speeding up this story. Anyway, at some point when I gave up the resistance, I said, okay. I went to one lady, this oracle, and she said the ancestors have told me that if you don't start this community, you have no more value to them on the planet.
Wow.
They were very direct, and they gave me all kinds of signs.
Yeah.
And so anyway, one day I surrendered and said, okay. I had this dream, and in this dream, I was a very small being walking down the street, and the beautiful people were coming out of this building. They were glowing. There was this beautiful music. And they said, this is what we want you to do. And I said, how am I going to do that? And they said, you say yes, and we'll do the rest. So I embraced the sacred yes. Yeah. And went step by step by step. I started the vision process with a very small group of people, visioning agape. At the time, I had a seminar called Agape Transformationals. I took agape from Dr. King's teaching. I took transformational from Malcolm X, because Malcolm X transformed in the public eye. So I combined Malcolm and King and had agape transformationals. And then when I developed agape, I just developed Agape International with a transformational bent. And so we visioned. There was just a few people in my living room, and we began to see the possibility of agape as this global community that embraced all people, that appreciated the uniqueness of us all, that we would build a kind and just global society, embracing the next iteration of the human species. All the things that we envisioned 30-something years ago is now coming to pass now, in terms of the worldly impact, the different satellites that are springing up, thousands of people that are tapping in. Doesn't matter who the individuals are, black, white, straight, gay, them, they, gender non-conform. It doesn't matter. We're like totally embracing of however humanity shows up and bringing people back to their source. So the resistance was real.
That's one of the things I really love about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the resistance was real. And what happened was, when I said yes, my neck clicked into place. I never had to go back to the chiropractor. It went pop. And I realized that was representative of resistance. The resistance was in my body. So I didn't have full mobility. But the moment I said yes.
The resistance to your purpose or calling.
Yes. I was told by the ancestors that I was doing my calling halfway, because I was
Mm-hmm.
seeing people. I had a really rich clientele of people that would see me. I saw 6 to 8 people every single day, you know.
Time to level up.
It was time to level up. And
Yeah.
when I did, they showed me step by step what to do.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
get
I've been doing.
I can understand, you know, what you were saying about the yes. You were like, do you want to do something? And I was like, I want to say yes, but it's like sometimes my personality wants to be more comfortable and just be chill
Right.
and witness things, you know. But when I get that inner yes, even if I'm fearful, I know.
Yeah. Now that's a powerful technology. When you say yes, then so you get the power after you say yes. You don't get it before. When
Yeah.
you make a
Sometimes you
commitment,
can't see the whole thing
you
or the whole
never
vision all at
can.
once.
The
Yeah.
commitment gives you the power, but some people wait to get what they think they want to commit. No,
Yeah.
once you commit, then the power comes.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be famous for biting off more than I could chew.
Women, it's kind of like, at some point I'm going to have to give labor. I don't know how I'm going to go through that. And then I have to figure out how to be a good parent. And that's so much pressure and I'm not ready. And you know, and, you know, one of my midwives that was helping me, Ava, was, you know, just telling me like, the 9 months is gonna prepare you. Like you're on the you're gonna get ready. Like you're everything that's happening is gonna make you ready. You're not gonna be ready before you start. You're gonna be ready in the process, and then you know, raising a child will teach you every day.
That is true.
Yeah, yeah.
On the job
So
training.
yeah, I remember you were also talking once about um, what are you waiting for to embark on, I'm going to say your dreams or whatever it was, your journey or something. Like you don't wait to be in shape to start exercising.
Right, right. People, when I when I get in shape, then I'm going to go to the gym. When I when I lose a little weight, then I'm going to start eating right.
Then I'm gonna start. Yeah, yeah.
When I take a bunch of meditation classes, then I'm going to start.
Oh, I see Omari Hardwick on here too. Speaking, I'm gonna have to ask him about getting in shape. He stays
Yeah.
fit with that too. Can I just ask you, um, you know, for people that just joined today, we're talking with my friend Reverend Michael Beckwith and talking about purpose and passion and the journey. Because all of us have a story, no matter what field we're in. I think sometimes people get known and it seems like, oh, it must have clicked for them, you know, right away or whatever. But there's always a path that and journey that precedes each one of us. Um, I wanted to also ask you about just maybe sharing one extraordinary or powerful moment, um, because you're one of those people that's got to travel the world. You've got to build and have friendships with, you know, different leaders and entertainers and spiritual advice, you know, just and do work in all kinds of different spaces. And if there's just one powerful or extraordinary moment, you know, since you've been
My
on your
God.
path that you could share with us. I know there's a
Yeah,
lot, but
there's been a number of individuals that I feel honored to have worked with. I facilitated 4 what is called synthesis dialogues with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And so I would facilitate these meetings that we would call together world leaders and spiritual leaders to dialogue and strategize about how to birth a kind and just global society. And I'll always remember one time I was facilitating this meeting, and we had people from Noetic Sciences, we had mystics, we had all these people. And His Holiness says, I don't believe in prayer. Prayer doesn't work. He said it like that. And everybody got quiet in the room. These were people who had scientific data
Yeah.
about the power
Yes.
of prayer,
Yes.
and they weren't speaking up. So,
Yeah.
I said, excuse me, I have to take off my facilitator hat for a moment, and I have to
Yeah.
participate in this dialogue.
Yeah.
I said, when we talk about prayer, we're not talking about begging or beseeching a magical being outside of ourselves. We're talking about coming into an alignment with reality, capital R, coming into alignment with what's already within us and setting it free, having a realization of
Mm-hmm.
that. And the Dalai Lama looked at me and he says, ah, yes, that's Buddhism. And then everybody started laughing, and then
Yeah.
everybody started participating after that and started
Yeah.
sharing. And, but I always remember that
Yeah.
silence. Nobody wanted to challenge him.
Yeah.
And then it became a rich dialogue. And I think another time was in South Africa during the Parliament of World Religions. I had the opportunity to give Nelson Mandela the Season for Nonviolence Award. And I can just remember his countenance and how he just looked directly at you, and he was with you. When he
Mm-hmm.
was with you, he wasn't, even though everybody's clamoring to shake his hand or to be with him,
Yeah.
when he was with you, he was with you.
Mm.
So we had a moment, and but I could just felt like it was like an activation of energy, just hanging out with
Yeah.
him. So I'll always remember that moment.
I mean, that was someone on my list of who I always wanted to meet. I mean, he was this huge symbol in my life. My father left apartheid in South Africa before coming to California and starting a family. So we've always, championed Mandela, and it was such a moment and affirmation for me in my life, seeing him come into power and the
Yeah.
people elected him. It was like, the US and South Africa have a lot of shared, similar history.
Yes.
And honestly, it's unfortunate because it's the same huge disparity and, long lasting. But anyways, that's beautiful that you got to
Yeah.
meet him and have that exchange.
And you're talking about someone living their dreams. I mean, he was in prison for 27 years,
Yes. Yes.
concurrently, and what he developed in and of himself during that time, talking about being quarantined and
Oh my goodness.
using the time well. I
Yeah.
mean, he came out and did, as you know, did forgiveness tribunals rather than war tribunals, which
Yeah.
lifted the whole vibration of humanity. Nobody's done that. Of course, it skipped over to Rwanda for a while when
Yeah.
the
Like
genocides
the
happened.
truth and
Yeah,
reconciliation.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he was brave enough and courageous enough to do that when people were calling for people's blood, you know.
Yeah.
And so he created a vibration on the planet of where we could go if we really want
Yeah.
to have a
And a new
sustained. Yeah,
standard. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So he was definitely, many of us, that was our hero, for many,
Yeah.
many reasons. Yeah.
For sure. I want to just take oh uh, oh, you know what? I was just being reminded. Lyra from South Africa also performed at Agape. I was there that day. You've had such a beautiful collection of talented folks. I want to take one more question. That was something that someone asked that I thought would um let's see. This would oh look it. Look at me in this technology. Hold on. Let me do that again. Black Hat Film is asking, can purpose change multiple times in one life, or is there always one central purpose? Which I think that's a great question.
Yeah. Let's define
Because
purpose.
sometimes it's hard to know,
Yeah.
which direction to go.
Well, everyone has the same purpose, but people have different missions and different gifts. So our purpose is to reflect and to reveal, let's say, the cosmos in a way that only we can, or the presence of God, the presence of the divine. We all have that as a purpose. But then we have ways of revealing that purpose. So we have different missions. Somebody their mission might be to heal. Somebody's mission might be to inspire. Somebody may be to create architecture that uplifts the spirit. Somebody may have a mission to teach mothers how to really raise their children in a very powerful way, or be an
Mm,
educator. So there's different missions within the grand purpose, and we all have different focuses on different gifts. So here's the deal though. When you try to live excellently in one area of your life and you develop your gift, then it becomes easier to transfer that into other areas of your life. Even if
As
something
things
else,
open.
things open. You may be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, and then your excellence in that may assist you in developing some kind of generous give back or some kind of artistic endeavor, because the principles of excellence are the same. So the purpose is the same, to reveal the face of divinity, different missions, different gifts. And when you and people ask, how do you do that? You know, if you sincerely sit down and ask, you'll get an answer. Most people ask disempowering questions. They ask, what's wrong, who's to blame, and why me? But if you ask, you know, what is my gift to give? You know, what's trying to emerge in me? Why did I arrive on earth? And you sit with that, your intuition will start talking to you. Your soul will start talking to you. The ancestors will grab a hold of you. You'll start to hear it. Oh, but many people don't take the time. You mentioned earlier that the coronavirus has given you more time to sit with yourself. You know, we now
all
have the
kinds
time.
of time.
We say?
I said all kinds of time.
Yeah. So we now have a little bit of time to ask those questions instead of, oh, when am I going to get out? I got to go. You know, we can actually sit, turn off the television, and say, okay, what is it within me that when I'm able to go out, that I really want to take with me, that I really want to emerge in me? What gift do I want to develop? And you know what? They'll get an answer. The sincerity of the question will provide the power of the answer.
Yeah. Just wait for it, because it might take a minute, huh?
Wait for it. Yeah, you have to develop, because that's a spiritual sense. We're used to hearing with our ears, not the consciousness behind the ears. So you have to, you're activating another sense to see the invisible and to hear the inaudible. It's different. You know, it's different. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. I know it's just going to be a few minutes, and I was like, more questions. But I would love to continue. You know, I would love to touch back with you and keep this conversation going. Thank you for the work that you're doing on so many different levels, and for fueling and inspiring me and so many millions of people. I'm going to put your, in my bio, I'll put the link to Agape Spiritual Center, and so that people, and I know you also have an app. Do you want to mention, did you just put out an app?
They can go to michaelbbeckwith.com.
Okay.
And they'll show them how to join the app. They just go to michaelbbeckwith.tv and subscribe. It's free. Subscribe.
Okay.
And then they go to the App Store and get Beckwith Inspires. The app, they can go to Agape. And I'm glad to see you. It's interesting because before this happened, you were on my mind. Then I saw something you wrote on something I was involved in. And you were just dancing around in my awareness.
Layla Ali. Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'll be watching your live streams until we can meet publicly again.
Absolutely. And then I'm going to get you to sing, even if it's from a distance, with you. And
I'm for it. I've already sung at your events. I'm down. You can always call on me.
It's going to happen.
You can always call on me. All right. And I just want to tell people, even as we're saying bye to Reverend Michael Beckwith, but I'll put his information. I think one of my friends I see is here. Omari will be joining us in a minute. So I'll see you. I'm gonna take you out of here, but I hope you don't leave us.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Reverend Michael. Okay. All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.